Yo, I had to do this video because this whole North versus South is like nerve-wracking. I'm not gonna lie. You know, I've been hearing this throughout all the years. You know, the South got beef with the North had beef with the South, and it's just annoying. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, regardless of what you say, literally, we are all one. Straight up. Like, I don't know too many people that's from the South that don't have family that's living in the North. I don't know too many people that's from the North that don't have family that's living in the South. It's crazy. Like, for the summers, when I used to live in New York, I used to visit down south for the summers. Then when I started living in in the South, I started visiting New York for the summers. You understand? So it's like, come on, man, miss me with this BS. You know what I mean? So before I begin, you know, I just want to say, like, I'm neutral. You know, like, I'm not really on the South side, and I'm not really on the North side. And even if I chose, right? If I pick, you know what I'm saying? The Southerners would say, well, you can't rep the South because you weren't born and raised all your life in the South. And the Northerners would say, you can't rep the North because you didn't live all your life in the North. And it's crazy, you know, I've been steadily looking for my identity, you know what I'm saying? Like, throughout the course of the years. And not too long ago, my father, you know, he popped this thing on me, you know what I'm saying? Like, why you didn't tell me this when I was young, you know what I mean? But for the most part, you know, he started to break down, you know, him and his side of the family. And, you know, them being from the West Indies. And, you know, he was just telling me how my great-grandfather, you know what I'm saying, migrated from this small island called Nevis, located right next to St. Kitts in the West Indies, you know, and how he moved to New York and had, you know, your grandfather, and then my grandfather, of course, had my father, and blah, 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 blah. And then I, you know, got some more history, you know, from my cousin that is originally from New York, but now she lives in Florida. So I took a trip, like, bear with me. I took a trip to the West Indies, right? So before those two white kids came out with that song, I was singing it on the way to the West Indies on the airplane. I'm an island boy, I'm an island guy, I'm an island boy, I'm an island boy. I just knew it. I just knew, boy, I got identity. I'm going home. You know what I'm saying? This is originally where I'm from. Now I know why I like West Indian food. I know why I like being in the sun all the time, and I love hot weather. It all makes sense to me. So I get to Nevis, and I meet my family, you know what I'm saying? Because I still got family there. You know, I find out that I'm the brokest out of all my family, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got family that live in the United Kingdom, all over the world. I mean, I got cousins that are doctors, lawyers, and like I said, I'm the brokest person there. So then I started to, like, because I stayed with my cousin while I was down there, you know what I'm saying? That's another cousin that I have. And, you know, I started to, you know, like, talk to the locals that were there. So, you know, I got my chest out. I'm an island boy. I'm an island boy. So I'm talking to the locals, and of course, you know, my accent, it lets them know that I'm not from here. So you know what, they had a nerve to call me? A goddamn Yankee. That broke my goddamn heart. They called me a goddamn Yankee. Which brings me to this. Before I begin, for the second time I'm saying that, I want to say this, you know what I'm saying? This is my opinions. You know what I'm saying? I don't make this to be facts. This is just what I think and how I feel. All right? So I think this whole North versus South thing started with white people. You know, the whole Confederate War, whatever the fuck, when it was, you know, the North versus the South. And at the end of the day, Abraham Lincoln and the North were not trying to free slaves. I think what happened was this, that the slaves just got tired of, and I hate when people call black people slaves, because we're not Slavics, we're not Russian, you understand? But for the sake of the conversation, the slaves got tired of busting their ass and working for free. And they revolted. I truly believe, and I've done some research too, but I truly believe that Nat Turner was not the only one that was revolting. And I just think that overall that the South couldn't gain control of their so-called slaves. And the North was coming in and they had their own different agendas and shit like that. Overall, at the end of the day, white people weren't trying to free black people. That plain and simple. So for whatever reason, why the North and the South was banging heads against each other, pause, until this day have a problem with one another, it ain't got shit to do with black people. That's the white man's business. Stay the fuck out of white man's business. Plain and simple. So, outside of that, what do you think, Langston? Why do you feel as though that black people have a problem with one another? Like, why are they warring like the North and the South? You know what I'm saying? Outside of the whole thing of white people and their whole bullshit fuckery going on. What I truly believe. I'll say this. I'll say that the Great Migration, you know what I'm saying? Where black people left, you know what I'm saying, the South, and they moved to the North to the so-called promised land where it was going to be better, not knowing that they were just going to become industrial slaves, you know, working on assembly lines and shit like that, you know, more advanced shit, but it was still the same thing. You understand? I think that those people, those black people that left their families and migrated to the North, the Southerners actually had a problem with that. And then once those black people migrated to the to the North, I truly believe that some of them made broken promises. Like some of them were, you know, like, yo, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna get the family and we all gonna move up and this and that and so forth. Others had, you know, made that broken promise and they were really sincere about it. And then once they got up there and they found out, oh shit, like I'm living in the projects and I gotta go to work and I gotta do this and I gotta do that and da-da-da-da-da, I can't afford to go back and get my my family. So the Southerners had built some animosity, and it's only right. It's only right. Because then you had overall black people that went up there and they started to have a chip on their shoulder. You know what I'm saying? As if they were better. Because they were so-called modernized. They didn't have to pick cotton anymore. They didn't have to grow their own food and do all of that hard type of labor work that they were doing when they were down south. You understand? And they had this Harlem Renaissance and, you know, they were modern now. They were playing jazz and they were, you know, running their own, you know, clubs and all the rest of that shit. Not knowing that entrepreneurship and owning your own business, this came from the South. And it's not a New York state of mind, the hustler mentality, the entrepreneur type of mentality. That's not a New York state of mind. That's a black state of mind because we've always been independent. You know what I'm saying? So, the Southerners, you know, had animosity, you know, and then the black people were every now and then, the black Northerners that were originally from the South, every now and then would go back and visit their families and shit like that from the South, and they would, you know, come down with their, you know, their jazzy clothes and, you know, their hats, and it would appear that they were doing great up north. You know what I'm saying? And they were showing off to the people in the South. But the reality of it is when they went back to the North, they weren't no different from the people that picked cotton. I had to bust their ass in the South. At all. Till this day, Northerners are still doing that same fuckery. Coming down south and making it appear that, oh, you know, everything is all good. But at the end of the day, it's not. You're living in the projects. You're struggling to pay your fucking rent. You're working 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs. And see, this is the crazy thing about it. You know, some people may sit back and say, well, you're wrong for thinking that or saying that, Langston. Well, how am I? Because at the end of the day, I've lived in New York. I know about the New Yorkers. I know their type of attitude. I know their state of mind and all the rest of that shit. And I've lived down south, and I know the Southerners' attitude, their state of mind, and all the rest of that shit. You see what I'm saying? Like, a lot of y'all don't, y'all tend to skip, that I lived in the 90s. And at that time in the 90s, you know what I'm saying, New Yorkers, they were running hip-hop. In other words, they were running the culture. And people looked up to New Yorkers. And while people that looked up to New Yorkers, guess what? The New Yorkers were looking down on everybody. For real. And this is the reason why the South is the way it is. The South always welcomed New Yorkers. I ain't never seen a Southerner really have intentional beef with a New Yorker, a Northerner. Until, I'm not saying all New Yorkers are like that way, but until the New Yorkers started running their mouth talking about something, the South ain't this, the South ain't that, y'all country, y'all dumb, and all the rest of that shit. Which brings me to this point. I know I'm like spitting shit out here and there, wherever, you know what I'm saying? But it all makes sense at the end of the day. Well, I'm at least gonna make it all make sense. But that whole dumb shit, like the Southerners are dumb and the Northerners are smarter, that doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. Why? Because there are a shitload of HBCU colleges here. Historically black college universities here in the South. Straight up. Matter of fact, there are way more colleges put together. Ivy League, regular colleges, 2-year colleges, community colleges, way more colleges than there are in the South than in the North. If you don't believe me, check it out. In other words, what I'm saying is that the Southerners have more of an opportunity to gain knowledge quicker than the Northerners do. Let me tell you something else too. I came down here, right? You know what I'm saying? I think I was in the 6th grade or something like that when I first moved to the South. For, I ain't gonna say for good, because I've gone back and forth. You know what I'm saying? But the first move that I made from the North to the South, they held me back. They held me back here because they said that the education that I was getting here was better than the New York education, public education. And it was. It was. Yo, I have gained a lot living in the South. I learned how to hustle in the South. I learned knowledge of self in the South. Some of y'all, might have thought, damn, he got the New York accent, you know what I'm saying? He probably gained knowledge of self off of, the streets of, Harlem or, you know what I'm saying, Jamaica Avenue or downtown Brooklyn, wherever the brothers and sisters were at, the 5%ers, you know what I'm saying, the Nation of Islam, the Nuwabians, or whatever have you. But let me tell you something, you're sadly mistaken. You know what I'm saying? I had the opportunity to become a Nuwabian when I was 19, living in Jamaica, Queens, with my father. Never forget it. I was on my way to the Coliseum, off of Jamaica Avenue. And the dude was all dressed all in white, and at the time, they would call it Ansar Allah community. And he was trying to, sell, pitch his sale to me, and I was like, man, I ain't trying to hear that. You know what I'm saying? But when I became a Nuwabian is when I was on the campus of St. Augustine's College, trying to find out who and what I, was or am. And I never forget that. I was at the student union, and it was a dude that was a Nuwabian, but he was dressed in all, black clothing wear attire. You know what I'm saying? I think he had Carcanine on, some other shit. I think he had a cross-colored shirt on or something, and it attracted my attention. Why? Because it's like, yo, man, if this guy, whatever this type of information that he's studying, if it turns me into him, you know what I'm saying, which is an entrepreneur, and he had black clothing, black clothing lines, he was fresh to death or whatever, I want that. That was in Raleigh, North Carolina, when I gained knowledge of self, so to speak, by joining the Nuwabian, you know what I'm saying, cult. I learned how to hustle down there. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna be truthful with you. It was some Jersey dudes that taught me to hustle. But for the most part, you know what I'm saying? I learned to hustle. I learned to get the gab. I learned all about my stuff that originally people would think that I would have learned in New York down south. Straight up. And personally, man, I never understood it. I never understood why in the world the North is better than the South, and you know what I'm saying? I never understood it. I never understood why the Northerners would think that the Southerners were slow and dumb. No, what you want to say is there's a culture difference. That's what it is. And New York is not as of now, because the kids have changed. Don't make a difference where the fuck you from. And that's how it should have been originally in the first fucking place. You understand? But back in the days, you know, Northerners, specifically New Yorkers, would really, if it was different, if it wasn't remotely close or the same towards what New York was doing, it was some slow and dumb shit. Like as if, you know what I'm saying, what all New Yorkers think and how they feel is the right way of thinking or feeling. It's as if the New York accent is the accent to have, and anything else outside of that is some slow and dumb shit. Yo, let me tell you something. Some of my family members treated me a certain kind of way. Oh, he from the South. What the fuck that mean? What the fuck that mean? And it wasn't until I got older and started living in different states and just broadening my horizons that gave me that, you know, sticking my chest out like, come on, get the fuck out of here. You telling me I'm from the South? I'm cool with that. But I tell you what, your ass been living in the same fucking project building all your fucking life. So if being a New Yorker is being like you, not having the amenities of central heat and air, I'm telling you, Southerners, how you all been living for years? New Yorkers don't live like that. Motherfuckers be having box units and shit inside their houses in order to get air. I mean box units in each window. Cause you know a box unit don't cool up the whole fucking house. The way that I live, you know what I'm saying? This is normal for us Southerners. And that's what bugged me out. And when I started talking that shit like that, they shut the fuck up. Y'all niggas is busting your ass 2, 3, 4, 5, fucking 6 jobs just to say that you live in New York. I seen it. I seen it with my own eyes. Straight up. And you got the nerve to call me country and, oh, you from the South and da-da-da-da-da. The arrogance. The ignorance. Yo, man, and we just need to stop this shit. We really do. Because I think at the end of the day, and I no disrespect to you, to the old head New Yorkers, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, the youngers don't do that shit. And right now, like seriously, even the young and the old New Yorkers, y'all ain't got no business talking right about now. Because you all are suffering, y'all are going through an identity crisis. Now the roles have been reversed. Now, it's okay. I forgot what rapper from New York, born and raised all his life, and he still lived there. I forgot what New Yorker said that shit, but he was like, I'm finna. I was like, oh shit, no, this nigga didn't. Do you know? I never used it. But at the end of the day, back in the days when you said I'm finna, that was you country. Don't say no shit like that. I'm finna go. Man, you get hit with 1,000 lashes if you were to say that shit in New York. But you know what's funny about New Yorkers? Straight up, this is real talk. A motherfucking New Yorker's gonna bitch and complain. They always gonna bitch and complain like, yo, this ain't like New York. I used to get da-da-da-da-da. Yo, I'm telling you, that's my word. Motherfuckers could blast off and go to Mars. A different planet. And if a nigga's from New York, you gonna know it. Yo, man, I can't fuck with this shit, B. Son, they ain't even got no pizza shops in fucking Mars. What the fuck? I can't even fucking get my fucking Chinese food with the fucking big ass brontosaurus chicken that ain't chicken. It's really cat and dog with hairs on it and shit. My nigga. A New York is not satisfied wherever he goes. Unless he's in New York. And then he's still gonna bitch and complain when he Yo, New Yorker make it to heaven. This nigga telling Jesus, yo, suck my dick. What? You telling Jesus to suck your dick? Suck my dick, son. What? We gotta stop it, though. We gotta stop it because we're all one. And it's just that plain and simple. And Southerners, yo, seriously, I'm not even lying. At the end of the day, yes, true indeed, the Northerners come down here bitching, complaining, and they say this and say that. Not all of them. Some of them do. You know what I'm saying? They coming down here, they act like they big man and all the rest of that shit. And I'm like saying to myself, like, yo, nigga, what school you went to? Oh, you don't want to tell me what school you went to. See, I know. Them other niggas don't know. You went to Catholic school, motherfucker. You all know Biggie Smalls went to Catholic school, right? You all know that Biggie Smalls had a Jamaican mom. He had an opportunity to go another way. He chose to go that way. And for that, we can't like turn a blind eye and say, oh, he keeping it real. No, he didn't. He had a choice. Just like a lot of New Yorkers have. But they chose the streets. And for that, how can you respect that? Yo, I'm being real with you. I went through a whole lot of shit in my life. But ultimately, yes, the stepdad knocked me the fuck out and all the rest of that shit. I told him I was going to kill him and da-da-da-da. At the end of the day, I had a choice whether to run away or stay home. I'm saying that to say this. Regardless of whether they talk their shit and they say they this and they that and da-da-da-da, Northerners that is, at the end of the day, seriously, you can't front and act like New Yorkers didn't put you on the game. Straight up. Yeah, they narcissistic, they egotistical. At times you can't deal with them. But at the end of the day, you can't say that they didn't put Southern dudes on to the game. You know, before you call gold teeth grills, they were called fronts. And y'all didn't know too much about fronts until the New Yorkers came down. You know this culture that, well, it ain't ours anymore, but you know the culture that we used to have called hip hop, it started out in New York. And I know some of you all, like, for real, I'm about to get out of here, you know what I'm saying? This video's mad long. But I know some of you all are going to definitely disagree with me when I say this. But since it started out in New York, and if New York lays down the rules, you know what I'm saying, and says, hey, listen, y'all got to be lyrical. You know what I'm saying? All of that mumbling and all the rest of that shit that y'all do, they have a right to say that because they created it. They created this culture called hip-hop. You know what I'm saying? And New Yorkers made a way for everybody to eat. New Yorkers created hip-hop out of nothing. Style, fashion. Come on, man. It ain't nothing like seeing, you know what I'm saying, in New York, especially a Brooklyn and a Harlem dude. And don't forget Queens either. New Yorkers are trendsetters. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? For all of the wrong that they do, you know what I'm saying, or however they think and feel, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, man, you gotta love them. Just like how you gotta love us Southern folks. I'm gonna claim myself to be Southern. Why? Because, man, the first entrepreneurs, the first people, you know, black people that own their businesses were the Southerners. You know what I'm saying? Harlem. That Harlem Renaissance and all that shit came from the South. Straight up. Man, I mean, black people are beautiful, man. Look at what we've done. Look at the achievements that we've made and the goals we set for everybody else. You know what I'm saying? A race of people that were kidnapped from Africa and brought over here and were stripped from their language, stripped from their culture, stripped from everything. Some migrated when they so-called freed the slaves. Yo, stop running with these fucking slave master narratives. Stop listening to what white people tell you about slavery. Stop it. Stop studying that bullshit in their textbooks. Stop it. Because they're going to give you a narrative that makes them superior. Let me tell you something. It's niggas right now wildin' that will clap back at the cops now. What makes you think that they weren't trying to do that or doing that shit back then? You understand? But just to so-called be free from these slave masters, and some stayed in the South and some stayed in the North, and we made magic. We're making magic. We are the greatest. And this North and South shit needs to stop. I don't want to hear any more conversations about that shit. And don't bring it up to me, because I don't want to hear it. You want to know why? Because every time I hear it, it causes a separation between us. Let me tell you something. I got friends that's from New York and from the South. I've had people fuck me over that was from the North and from the South. And I'm not trying to be funny, but you all know how I get down. So I shouldn't even have to put this disclaimer out here, you know what I'm saying, as far as my vulgar language and how I get, you know what I'm saying, how I get down. But for the most part, I fucked women that were in the North and in the South. And I can tell you, the pussy's the same. I've had to deal with motherfuckers that was pussy, you know what I'm saying, that didn't help me when I got jumped from the North and the South. So the only thing is kind of different, man, is our culture and our accent. You understand? And what's so funny about it, man, is that that's what we need to embrace and appreciate. Yo, I left Atlanta not because of the people. It's because Atlanta is just fucked up. Like, it's racism going on, classism, but I'm talking about like the real Atlanteans, you know what I'm saying? Fuck with me, big bruh. You know what I'm saying? The way that they talk, the way that they walk, the way that they wear their dress. I'm talking about the way that they dress. I'm talking about the real Atlanteans, you know what I'm saying? Some smart ass motherfuckers, and I mean like smart, intelligent, hustling ass motherfuckers, and real respect, real. So it wasn't because of the Atlanteans I left. It was because of other people that migrated there, and the racism, the classism, all the rest of that shit. But at the end of the day, man, I've met some fucked up ass Northerners and Southerners, and I've met some real deal Holyfield Northerners and Southerners. So stop it with all these stigmas and shit. Oh, the South is slow and dumb, or the North, they ain't nothing but city slickers and da-da-da-da-da, hustlers. They want to hustle, take your money and block. Man, stop it. We're all one. And there's good people and bad people in every race. You understand? I just want to say this last thing and then I'm done. New Yorkers, please respect the South. For real. I mean, the South is here to stay. And I can tell you the reason why I know it's here to stay, because y'all are leaving. Y'all are, you know, the last massive exodus that I've seen, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say seen, but I've read. I don't really particularly, you know, want to quote the Bible, but, you know, because I'm not religious, I'm not into Christianity. But last time I read about a massive exodus, this was like in when Moses freed the slaves or some shit out of Egypt. You know, that fictitious story. Other than that, man, shit. The Northerners are migrating down here in drones, you know. So the South is where it's at. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna live down here and appreciate these Southerners' culture and not change shit, or you could just take your ass back to New York. And I'm not trying to be funny. I mean, it's just the truth. Like, the simple shit that Southerners say is like really intelligent. Like, you really listen to it, like it's some logical shit. Like, oh, you don't like living here? Well, leave, nigga. Like, ain't nobody stopping you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you talking about some, well, I don't like this son, this, that. It's obvious that the Southerners that are born and raised here, they like it. So if you have a problem with something, all you gotta do is just pack your bags and move back to New York. But you don't want to do that. Why? Because you know you got it good here. And stop it with that racism shit. Because racism exists in Staten Island, Long Island, all over in New York, Manhattan. I used to work in Manhattan. And the racism is just like, oh my God. So kill me with that bullshit. Kill me with that. Last time I seen a black man in New York, his name was Eric Garner. He was getting choked by the cops. So get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Do the Right Thing came out in what, 1987, 91 or some shit like that? And Spike Lee was showing at the end where Radio Raheem was getting choked by the cops? This shit been going on and on and on in New York. Amadou Diallo, Sean Bell, get the fuck out of here with this racism bullshit. Racism is everywhere. Because this is a disease that can't be cured. You want to know why? Because racism, racist fucking white people spread that fucking virus. And I said racist white people, not all white people. And I know you were about to say some black people are racist. Like, get the fuck out of here. Black people can't be racist because we hold no power. We have no power. So if you want racism to end, talk to your white people about that shit. Black people ain't racist. We may be, what's it start with a P? Prejudice. And I'm prejudiced. I prejudge every fucking body. I don't give a fuck if you black, white, green, purple, or yellow. I prejudge. There's nothing wrong with being prejudiced, but it is a thing wrong with racism, where you intentionally hold fucking people back because of the color of their skin. Hey, I'm done, man. Damn, 30 minutes. Hey, I hope you all, you know what I'm saying, enjoyed this video. Other than that, my name is Langston292. I want you to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely share this video. Peace.